First, I'd like to thank you very much, Labour Women's Declaration, for organising this rally. And I'd also like to thank the impromptu choir outside for demonstrating rather graphically that there's some kind of a misunderstanding here, that we are not against trans rights, we are for the rights of women and for the rights of LGBT people. And I look forward to the moment in which we can, instead of us talking here and them shouting outside, that we will be able to sit down and talk to each other. Everyone in this room, well, actually everyone on the planet, was born from the egg from a female and the sperm from a male. Biological sex is binary. It is immutable, and it's the basis on which women and LGBT people worldwide are oppressed. Sex, not gender. When I moved from London to Amsterdam, I became a professional translator. I deal with language. So I've watched with interest as more and more people have taken to using the word gender, partly to avoid the unwanted associations of the word sex. But it has spun out of control a bit, till it reaches everywhere, even influencing children's views of their own bodies and the lessons they're taught at school. Let's be clear. Sex is biology, gender is about social stereotypes. When the candidates for Labour leadership and deputy leadership signed up to a pledge that defamed my organisation, LGB Alliance, clearly showing that they knew nothing about us, we were proud to be linked with Women's Place UK, which is a fantastic organisation. LGB Alliance and Women's Place UK both insist on the importance of biological sex. And when women's sex-based rights are at issue, lesbian rights are doubly impacted. Women who make love and make their lives with other women have always been seen as a threat within patriarchal society. LGB Alliance is an organisation that supports the rights of lesbians, gay men and bisexuals to define ourselves as same-sex attracted. Sexual orientation is protected by the Equality Act. More and more gay men and bisexuals are protesting against the insistence on gender identity. But we are a lesbian-led organisation, and that is no accident. Because what we're seeing now is the worst attack on lesbian rights in my lifetime. Let me give you a few examples. Young women visiting so-called lesbian dating sites report that some 40% of the people who sign up have male bodies. There's been an almost 4,000% increase in the number of girls going to gender clinics and self-IDing as boys in the UK over the past decade. The government has commissioned research into this huge increase, but says it is not in the public interest to tell us who is carrying it out or what the terms of reference are. Meanwhile, hundreds of young women in their 20s now regret transitioning. You can go online and hear their stories. Brave young women like Benji from Canada, like Sinead Watson, and like Kira Bell, who's now challenging the NHS gender clinic in a landmark legal case. They and hundreds like them question why the medical profession went along with transitioning them instead of giving them the care they needed. They were sure they were trans, and now they know they're lesbian. And lesbians are no longer welcome within what some people still refer to as the LGBT community. When lesbians assert their sexual orientation at pride events, they are jeered at and shouted down by activists. When this happened at Lancaster Pride last year, the activists were praised on Twitter. Who by? By the chair of Stonewall. It's the upside down. Stonewall. That once proud organisation which helped to defeat the infamous Section 28 legislation and helped to achieve same-sex marriage. Stonewall no longer represents us. It has signed up to gender identity theory. Gender identity theory says that males who identify as women can call themselves lesbians. This is a kind of theft, stealing our word for ourselves, and we will not, do not accept it. We are... We are LGB, but we have many allies. Straight women and men and trans people too. Trans people who are appalled at the attacks on the rights of women and on those of LGB people. When they speak out, they often find themselves caught in crossfire. I'm happy that one of our strongest trans allies will be speaking here today. We value all those who support us in our work. What is that work? Right now we have 4 priorities. Our first priority is to press pause on the Gender Recognition Reform Bill in Scotland. The bill is described as a minor administrative change that will help a small group of people and leave existing rights intact. That is completely false. Please fill in the consultation. There's just 1 week left. Anyone can do it wherever you are, oddly enough. There are guidelines on our website and on the website of For Women Scotland. Second, we're going to stop the rollout of Stonewall's LGBT inclusive curriculum for primary schools. Although schools can choose which curriculum they use, Stonewall's is the only one shown on the DFE website resources page. No sign of the resource produced, for instance, by the group Transgender Trend. Stonewall's curriculum focuses on gender identity and suggests to kids that they may have been born in the wrong body. It does not belong in any classroom. Third, our battle to end the rule of what we call Stonewall law. We sent a letter to the EHRC in the autumn asking for an inquiry into whether Stonewall is in breach of the Equality Act. The EHRC wrote back saying there was nothing to worry about. Funnily enough, this didn't reassure us. Our lawyer has now sent the EHRC a killer letter detailing the damage Stonewall is wreaking across the public and private sectors with no parliamentary authority whatsoever. We're expecting the reply next week. Fourth, we demanded a seat at the table everywhere where decisions are made about LGB issues. For example, the government's LGBT advisory panel consists of 12 people, all 12 of whom support self-ID. No diversity of thought at all. We're in talks with the Government Equalities Office and have requested a meeting with Liz Truss. On top of this, we're doing all the work involved in building a brand new organisation, and we're applying for charitable status and building an organisation to challenge the dominance of those who promote the damaging theory of gender identity. And we're preparing for our summer conference, which will be entertaining and informative, and we're going to have 22 LGB Alliance flags flying in the heart of Westminster. It's Friday, the 12th of June. Hopefully tickets will go on sale in April. We're a grassroots organisation trying to engage with people who hold different views. And to the Labour candidates who know so little about us, I have 2 things to say. First, stop pretending that there is no conflict between the demands of trans activists, especially self-ID, and the rights of women and LGBT people. And second, talk to us. Where there are problems and clashes, let's sit down and talk about them. We've been arguing for months now for fact-based, respectful discussions in which we can work towards finding solutions that are fair for everyone, for women, for LGBT people, for trans people, and for children. As Kate Harris, co-founder of LGB Alliance, likes to say, our door is always open. Let me close with the words of the late Magdalene Burns. It is not hate to defend your rights, and it is not hate to speak the truth. So, when we leave here today, let's try to cast off the fear. Let's go out, stand up, and talk in public about sex and gender. Thank you very much.